And joining us right now, the Roth North Peaks guest line, making his triumphant return to the Farzy show. A guest we love to talk to, especially towards the end of basketball season, at least the regular season. You know him, you love him. You can read him on thepainted.lines.com. You can check him out at USA Today. Mr. Austin Krell joins us. Austin, what's going on, brother?
Not much. All I'm going to say is that the Farzy show is so important to me. I didn't skip, but I left Passover early to be here. I might have wanted to. I might have wanted to anyway. That's a disclaimer that we don't have to get into right now.
I just need to hear what you told the rest of the family. Well, what is it? The unleavened bread goes around, and then I can't. I gotta go do the far. How did it happen? How did you excuse yourself from the table?
So they gave me I don't even know what the food is, honestly. I think it's the gefilte fish they gave me.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And so they're like, do you want this? I'm like, I wouldn't want that if I was on an island with nothing else to eat. No, thank you. And so I was like, just give me the matzo ball soup. I'll have that. That's delicious as usual. And then give me the chicken or the brisket, and that's it. And then my cousin, who is a urologist, had to leave because he was like, "Oh, it's 8:30. My wife's at home," which is fair and valid. And then I was like, "Well, it just so happens that I have to be on a show at 9, and I'm going to also leave." And they're looking at me and they're like, "Where do you have to go?" I was like, "I'm going to be on a show." And my family assumes that because I work in sports, I'm like super important, which is just totally not true.
Oh yeah.
So they're just like, okay, he's important. Like you got to go. And I was like, yeah, that's it. See ya. And I got the hell out of there. Had to talk to my cousin about Paul Reed for a little while, explain why he does or does not get playing time. As much as my cousin would like him to, at least. And then I got out of there. So
Understood. I can identify on the Catholic side of things when my wife and I did pre-Cana. My wife is explaining the schedule with the rest of the class, the rest of the Gentiles, me and my fellow Gentiles. And we're out there and we're talking about it. She kept on referencing my job. And I had to stop her at one point. I was just like, hey, just so everybody knows, I am not a doctor. Okay. My job is not that important. I work in the media. So my schedule, why she's saying this is because my schedule is often dictated to me by other influences. I don't have a 9 to 5. I don't make my own schedule. Now I'm more or less, I do a little bit more of that, but still got to watch the games when the games are on, right?
That's right.
That's right.
Yeah, that's what we do. It's funny. Like as a beat writer, I'll be like, my family will schedule things around me as if I am playing on the team. Like they'll say things like, oh, can't do that. He has a game that night. He has to take his pregame nap. And I'm like, I get winded, but I do not play for the team. I am not actually on the Sixers. I just cover them and write about them and listen to them speak before and after games. But I do not put the ball in the basket for them.
Fair enough. Although they might need you. They might need you come playoff time, my friend. All right. We just watched an incredible performance from Joel Embiid. At the time we air this on Thursday morning, it was Tuesday night that we watched all it unfold. 52 points, scored more than half his team's points, and all that stuff. I'm going to come right out of the gate with it here. After our religious talk, let's talk Joel Embiid. Is it fandom that he's the leader in the clubhouse to be the MVP of the NBA, or is this something that is actually coming together at the right time for him to finally be recognized as the league's most valuable player?
That's right. We do yarmulkes in basketball here. So I would say this. I think for a while it is fandom that guides it because you're as fans, you are emotionally invested in this guy who you've seen build his game up and been through all kinds of shenanigans with this team over the years. And you see that he gets you can say robbed last year if you want. And he has the Ben Simmons situation. He has incredible season next to James Harden. They are blowing everybody out of the water all year. Very impressive. And you feel like it's there. You feel like it's within grip. It's attainable. But you also feel jaded by the people who vote for the award because last year they gave it to the guy who you didn't feel like was worth it. And so I think now that Joel, he had already had a pretty beefy resume. They beat Cleveland in Cleveland, where Cleveland does not lose on their home floor. They beat Milwaukee in Milwaukee to end a 16-game winning streak for the Bucks in a game they trailed by 18 in the third quarter. They beat Memphis in a game where Joel had to literally change his style of play because he wasn't playing well on offense to, win them the game as a defensive-minded player. They up and down their schedule, they have padded. He has put together a more than worthy MVP resume, and you still weren't quite sure because they weren't the 1 seed, and Jokic has his phenomenal, efficient, statistical great season. Giannis has his great season, and they're the 1 seed in the East. Last night, after the straw poll comes out last week or whatever it was, and Joel is inching out Jokic by 2 points. Last night, he puts the stamp on the whole thing and says, "Here's what it is. Here's what I got for you. You can take it or leave it. This is all I have to say left." And he scores literally more than half his team's points, 52 of 103. And if you factor in the 6 assists in the game, he by himself accounted for 69 of the 103 points. So it is not fandom now. It is becoming a reality with each passing day. I think I haven't checked the odds today. The last odds I saw were like 1,000 at some point. There was he's moved into the heavy favorite category, especially now when you consider that at the same time as he is literally putting the Sixers on his shoulders to carry them to a win, Nikola Jokic out west against the 19-59 Houston Rockets goes for 8 turnovers and is a minus 21 in a 21-point loss. Mm-hmm. So those two events happening at the same time, I don't want to say it's solidified or that it's a sure thing, but it doesn't get much closer to a sure thing at this point. Like, there's not many games left for anyone to prove themselves. The resumes are what they are, and the lasting memory that you're going to have of Joel Embiid for the people who vote on this award is going to be him literally willing his team to a victory and scoring 52 points.
Mm-hmm. No, I'm with you 1,000%. Even though I only caught the tail end of that because I was still fixated on basketballs and yarmulkes, or yarmulkes and basketballs. What was it? What's the name of our new podcast?
I think it's Yannicka. Yeah, I try saying it, let alone listening to it. Yarmulkes and basketball. We're gonna have rabbis coming in as guests. It's really phenomenal.
It'll be such an educational experience for me, right. Especially. Right. When you hear this term, voter fatigue, I can't help but just laugh. Like the idea of like someone trying to fill out a ballot and be like, "Oh, I got cramps." You know what I mean? When you hear voter fatigue, is that a real thing, or is that just something that we've made up as a society?
I do think it gets to a point where you're like this guy isn't like not showing me anything that I haven't already seen. We already know that Nikola Jokic is a phenomenal player. We already know that his game is he's a facilitator out of the high post. They're the 1 seed. We get it. It's time for us to maybe appreciate somebody else, or maybe with the way that this conversation has run, which I would love to go on a rant on that too. That you just get so tired of hearing the vitriol and the venom and the back and forth about this guy and M free throw merchant on Twitter from guys with 4 followers. And, every single nasty comment out there, every single distorted narrative out there, you just get tired of it and you just say, you know what, forget it. I'm just going to vote for somebody else because I need this to end.
Mm-hmm. Understood.
So I do think it's real. I don't think that's a way that if I were winning the award, would want it to be painted as I won it because of voter fatigue for another guy. Like, no, Joel is averaging 34 points a game with 10 rebounds on absolutely ridiculous efficiency. What he is doing is absolutely ridiculous right now. Mm-hmm. He is, I say this all the time, he is a 7-foot shooting guard. It literally, that's what he is. And last night was his signature. This is my game. This is how I do it. And we're going to win the game. Mm-hmm. And it speaks for itself.
Yeah. Speaking of winning the game against the Celtics, is this the PJ Tucker we can get used to? Some clutch defense and then obviously clutch shooting down the stretch?
That's why you signed him. That's why you gave the guy $10 million. He does not like playing the Detroits of the world on a Tuesday, but you give him a Boston on national television. He is going to be the guy that somehow hit not somehow, I know how he did it, but he's going to be the guy that steps up to make 3 threes in a row when he hasn't made 3 threes in a game, I think all season, once the whole season. So that was the culmination of PJ being great. But I do think that the story there is maybe the better part than PJ hitting the threes themselves. They're great shots. That was huge in them winning the game. When you step back and you take a look at what had to transpire, it was really Joel's coming into this is an adult superstar moment. Not this is an immature all-star. This is an adult superstar. Go back 5 years and they're playing this same game. And Joel is trying to will the team to victory. And he is, they're doubling him. What does he do? He tries to shoot over it or he tries to make a move out of it, turns the ball over, misses a shot.
Bad decisions, right? Yeah.
Yes, terrible decisions. It's and those are the catastrophic mistakes late in games that cost them and they lose to Boston by 5. This Joel says, I have 50 points. They are doubling me at the nail every time. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to see that defender coming over. I'm just going to throw the ball to PJ in the corner and trust my teammate who doesn't get a lot of touches, but I know can make that corner shot because that's the right play to make. Making that right play, those right passes 3 times in a row, that is what championship superstars do. That making the right play in the guts of the game and saying, this is not all about me. I can't do it myself, but I'm going to use the advantages that I create for others, and I'm going to get them shots.
Mm-hmm. No, that's certainly what it seemed like last night. I called last night for that and his ability to attack the rim. And when I say last night, I mean Tuesday night. That was the best game I ever seen Joel Embiid play because of his aggression towards the basket. It was a lot of bunny jumpers. It was a lot of fadeaways in the paint, whatever. But he also exploded to the rim, and we've rarely seen him do that with that regularity that he had in that game and the ability as well to be able to find guys in the corner for threes. I thought that was the best game, I'll just say regular season-wise, that I've seen him play.
Yeah, and I think you can even look at, even further, the people who enjoyed Wilt Chamberlain and the Dr. J's and the Moses Malones, they would say, I don't want him taking threes. He took, I think,
1-3. I think he took 1-3.
Yeah,
he maybe took 2 shots or 3 shots outside the paint.
Correct. And that's been like a very good indicator of what he's done the whole season. He hasn't taken a lot of threes this year. He has dialed that volume back. Why? Because he is a 49% mid-range shooter. That is preposterous for a guy of his volume to be a 49% mid-range shooter. That's almost as good of a shot as a layup is for most guards. And so he simply said, I'm going to do this all night long. I don't care who you put on me. It's going to be Grant Williams, fine. Hal Horford, fine. Marcus Smart, fine. Any guy you want to put on me, I am going to do it. First quarter, his first shot of the game was a Hakeem Olajuwon dream shake into a mid-range jumper. I haven't seen him pull that move, I think, since his first bucket of his career was a dream shake at the free throw line against the Thunder. His 50th point of the night, when he was exhausted, absolutely gassed. He has Grant Williams at the top of the key, flips him right over, and buzzes by everybody. Had the helpers frozen in their shoes for a dunk to get 50 points. It was one of the best. I don't care that Robert Williams III was out and Jaylen Brown was out and that they were undermanned. You had to win by 2. That was maybe the single best executed game I've seen him play his whole career.
What is it going to take to get this team past the second round of the playoffs? Is it going to be Maxey stepping up in a phenomenal way, unlike he did Tuesday night? Is it going to be Tobias Harris earning that contract that we like to scream and yell about? What will it take for this team to be able to get past that awful second round that has been the curse to them for 20-some years?
So I think you're going to need multiple guys to do things outside of their norms. And I don't mean Tobias go for 40.
Right.
I mean, do some of the little things that Tobias does not regularly do. Last night, I point to a play last night where PJ Tucker hits his third 3, and it's in the opposite corner of the previous 2. Why was he so open? Because Jason Tatum helped all the way off of him in the paint because he thought Joel was going to shoot the ball, and he wanted to be there to box out to help get the rebound if it came down. Tobias Harris needs to be a better rebounder. He's playing 35, 36 minutes a night as a small forward, power forward. Too many times the shot goes up, he is outside with ball watching, or he is not near the glass. You need to get physical and get your body in there and block guys out to secure those rebounds and hold Boston to 1 possession or 1 shot per possession. Tyrese Maxey, it figures to be a swing player in the series. He can win you a game or 2 by himself. One thing you're going to need him to do is to be a little bit more confident. I think there were times last night where he has Derek White on him. Derek White is low center of gravity guard, long and athletic, can stay in front of a guy like Tyrese very well. And Tyrese, you could see, is having trouble figuring out, okay, I can't beat him to a spot because he's getting there in front of me. I can't really cross back and beat him to another way. I'm kind of stuck here. And you would see possessions stall out with Tyrese with the ball in his hand. And then that would spiral into he would have open lanes to attack off the catch, and he wouldn't take them because Derek White was somewhere lurking, and he didn't feel like he could do that. You need to be aggressive. Green light when the ball comes your way. If it's not a quick three, you got to figure out, okay, do I have an angle here? Can I beat this guy? Can I push through him even if he's in my way? No, then I got to move the ball to somebody else. Mm-hmm. And it's being a quick decision maker in that regard. You're going to need James Harden to not have 6 turnover nights and to not shoot 3 of 14 and to be his 22 and 11 self. I don't think you can go into a series with the expectation of winning if you're going to get efforts like you got the other night, where guys are not making shots and Joel is having to play hero ball. You're literally those type of games like last night, you're looking at a guy who's going to average 45 points per game in a series, and they're going to lose in 5 games because at a full health, Celtics are simply going to be the better team in most cases. But I do think that they can be beaten.
All right, so we got the Bucks, we got the Celtics, we got the Sixers as the top 3 teams. Cavs are obviously a good team, but the Sixers have had some success against them this year, of course. Is there another team that you see lurking in the weeds the Sixers could face before they would face the Bucks or before they would face the Celtics that would be a big threat to them potentially making it to the finals or the conference finals?
The Miami Heat.
Still the Miami Heat.
They have so that's always going to be a demon for them because they have Jimmy. But I think one of the most dangerous things about the Heat isn't that just that they have Jimmy Butler. It's that Jimmy Butler knows Joel so well, and he's going to know how to play on his weaknesses when it comes to closing time. And granted, personally, I think they would have won the series last year if Joel had been healthy. If he hadn't had his face broken by Pascal Siakam,
right?
Hate when that happens. When you get your face broken, it's the worst.
The worst.
But I think that looms as a dangerous thing because if Jimmy smells blood, he will go to work and he'll
pounce. He'll pounce.
Yeah.
So this is this game that we're looking at that is actually tonight, Thursday night, 7:30 tip-off against the Heat. This is another potential playoff matchup we're looking at here.
Yeah, it is. I think the Brooklyn is mostly closing on that 6th seed, and I wouldn't be too worried about it, but it is still mathematically possible. I think that's why you see that on the injury report, Melton is questionable, Tyrese is questionable, and PJ is questionable, but James and Joel are not listed as of now. So that should tell you that they are treating this game with some sort of semi-normalcy and that this is a game that matters to them. I do think you'll likely see them rest the Brooklyn game on Sunday because they were like, you know what, we're just going to we win the Miami game and then we let Brooklyn just beat our asses in their own court. That should be enough for Brooklyn to clinch that 6th seed and keep Miami away from us. And I don't think this would happen, but I'd be very interested to see how a Bucks Celtics or how a Celtics Heat series would play out because PJ was a big loss for Miami. Miami took them to 7 games and was within 1 shot of beating them. And playoff Jimmy Butler is a different animal, and I'm curious to see how that series would go.
Yeah. That's a rough one. The Jimmy Butler thing still stings. I talked to Zoom off a couple days ago, and I asked him, I was like, I know this is picking between your favorite kid, but your favorite kids, whatever. But the Jimmy Butler Sixers versus the James Harden, Joel Embiid Sixers, what team is the better team? And that Jimmy Butler team, I don't think was losing to many people. Unfortunately, they lost to Kawhi Leonard, who was the thing I took away from that was that Kawhi Leonard was playing at a level where people were comparing him to Jordan. National broadcasters saying no one's played like this since Jordan. And it was the only time anyone got a comparison to Jordan and nobody objected. They were like, oh, yeah, he's pretty much, he's actually playing like Jordan. And that's how good that guy played in that series.
So this was back when I thought like hot takes were cool and like tweeting hot takes was cool.
Yeah, sure.
I don't think that's fun anymore. But my take was Kawhi is who people think Kobe was. Like if you think about like how immortalized Kobe is and how he's treated like a god, and he was a phenomenal player. That's not me saying he wasn't. Kawhi Leonard, I think people take for granted just how ridiculously good he was. Not just in that series, that entire playoff run.
Yeah.
Joel's performance against the Celtics on Tuesday, I liken it to that, where this dude caught the ball at the elbow or the nail, and you didn't care the contest, how many guys were in his way, the quality of difficulty, whatever. It was going in, and you couldn't do a damn thing about it. And that was Kawhi that entire postseason.
Last thing I got for you here, the little push between James Harden and Tobias Harris on the side out of bounds, inbounds play, I should say. What am I reading into that? What do you know about it? What can we make of that?
So I did ask Doc about that after the game, and he kind of just nodded at it and said, like, yeah, James is our best passer. So I was like, so you just didn't want Tobias inbounding the ball? He was like, James is our best passer. I was like, okay.
That's great.
I got it.
Austin, I'm sure we'll talk to you, catch up with you again when the playoffs roll in. Regular season wraps up this week. Make sure you guys are following Austin Krell right there on Twitter. Check him out, paidlines.com. You can also check him out as a contributor to USA Today, all that and more. Austin, great catch up with you, man. Happy Passover, and this has been Yarmulkes and Basketballs with Austin Krell and the Gentile Mark.
That's exactly right. It's going to be a great. It's a buddy cop, but it is what it is.
It's good cop, good cop. Austin, great catching up. Thanks so much.
Thank you.